Rhinoceroses are large, herbivorous mammals identified by their characteristic horn snouts. The word rhinoceros comes from the Greek rhino, nose, and ceros, horn. There are 5 species and 11 subspecies of rhino, some have 2 horns, while others have 1. Rhinoceros, any of 5 or 6 species of giant horn-bearing herbivores that include some of the largest living land mammals. Only African and Asian elephants are taller at the shoulder than the 2 largest rhinoceros species, the white, or square-lipped, rhinoceros, which some divide into 2 species, northern white rhinoceros and southern white rhinoceros, and the Indian, or greater one-horned, rhinoceros. The white rhinoceros and the black rhinoceros live in Africa, while the Indian rhinoceros, the Javan rhinoceros and the Sumatran rhinoceros live in Asia. The precarious state of the surviving species, all but one are endangered, is in direct contrast to the early history of this group as one of the most successful lineages of hoofed mammals. Today the total population of all the rhinoceros species combined is probably fewer than 30,000. Rhinoceroses today are restricted to eastern and southern Africa and to subtropical and tropical Asia. Rhinoceroses are characterized by the possession of 1 or 2 horns on the upper surface of the snout. These horns are not true horns but are composed of keratin, a fibrous protein found in hair. Modern rhinoceroses are large animals, ranging from 2.5 meters, 8 feet, long and 1.5 meters, 5 feet, high at the shoulder in the Sumatran rhinoceros to about 4 meters, 13 feet, long and nearly 2 meters, 7 feet, high in the white rhinoceros. Adults of larger species weigh 3 to 5 tons. Rhinoceroses are noted for their thick skin, which forms plate-like folds, especially at the shoulders and thighs. All rhinos are gray or brown in color, including the white rhinoceros, which tends to be paler than the others. Aside from the Sumatran rhinoceros, they are nearly or completely hairless, except for the tail tip and ear fringes, but some fossil species were covered with dense fur. The feet of the modern species have 3 short toes, tipped with broad, blunt nails. Most rhinoceroses are solitary. Individuals usually avoid each other, but the white rhinoceros lives in groups of up to 10 animals. In solitary species the home territory is crisscrossed with well-worn trails and often marked at the borders with urine and piles of dung. Rhinoceroses have poor eyesight but acute senses of hearing and smell. Most prefer to avoid humans, but males and females with calves may charge with little provocation. The black rhinoceros, Rhinoceros bicornis, is normally ill-tempered and unpredictable and may charge any unfamiliar sound or smell. Despite their bulk, rhinoceroses are remarkably agile. The black rhinoceros can attain a speed of about 45 kilometers, 30 miles, per hour, even in thick brush, and can turn around rapidly after missing a charge. Like elephants, rhinoceroses communicate using infrasonic frequencies that are below the threshold of human hearing. The use of infrasonic frequencies is likely an adaptation for rhinoceroses to keep in touch with each other where they inhabit dense vegetation, and probably for females to advertise to males when females are receptive to breeding. The rhinoceros's horn is also the cause of its demise. Powdered rhinoceros horn has been a highly sought commodity in traditional Chinese medicine, not as an aphrodisiac, as is often widely reported, but as an anti-fever agent. Substitute agents have been found, particularly pig bone and water buffalo horn, but rhinoceros horn commands tens of thousands of dollars per kilogram in Asian markets. Today poaching remains a serious problem throughout the range of all species of rhinoceros. September 22nd is World Rhino Day. Everybody knows what the giant mammal looks like. But what else do you know? Here are some fun facts you may not have heard before which can help you understand more about this charming, but endangered animal. When talking about rhinos, many people have Africa in mind immediately. However, 3 of 5 rhino species are endemic to South Asia. All 3 rhino species of Asia, including the Indian rhino, the Javan rhino, and the Sumatran rhino, used to reside in China. Sadly, they are regionally extinct. Today, they only live in fragmented habitats in Nepal, India, Bhutan, Indonesia, and Brunei. There are only 46 to 66 individuals of Javan rhinos, which means it is roughly 20 times rarer than the giant panda. If you have seen white rhinos in local zoos, you may find they are gray, not white. The name is a mistranslation from Dutch to English. The English word white is actually a Dutch word wijt, meaning wide and referring to the rhino's wide lips. In fact, another name of the white rhino is the square-lipped rhino, which is more accurate. The black rhino may not be blacker than the white rhino. The two rhino species have similar color, especially in the wild. So how can you tell them apart? The main difference is their lips. White rhinos have broad flat lips for grazing grass, whereas black rhinos have long pointed lips for eating leaves and foliage. By the way, the two species can mate and successfully produce offspring. The rhino is an odd-toed ungulate, which means it is more closely related to horses, zebras, and tapirs, rather than other ungulates such as the buffalo, the bison, or the hippo. The rhino does have a small brain. It may not be smarter than it looks. All rhino species reach or exceed 1 ton in weight, but their brains are merely 400 to 600 grams. A rhino's skin can be as thick as 5 centimeters, which provides perfect protection. Its hooves look just as rough as its body, however, their feet are vulnerable. If kept in the zoo, hard surfaces like concrete may hurt them. A research of white rhino shows that their droppings are unique identifiers, enabling them to take one whiff of a dung heap and instantly know the animal's age, sex, and reproductive status. By this method, the former can decide if the latter is available for dating. By the way, they spray urine, too. A male rhino can spray several meters to leave a territory mark as well as a dating invitation. Adult rhinos have no real predators in the wild, except humans. However, a young calf may be prey to big cats, crocodiles, African wild dogs and hyenas. The word rhinoceros comes from two Greek words, rhino, nose, and ceros, horn. Rhinos can run at speeds up to 31 miles per hour, 50 kilometers per hour. A charging rhino can scatter a herd of elephants. Lions will break off a hunt in order to avoid crossing a black rhino's path. Adult rhinoceroses have no natural predators except for human beings. A group of rhinos is referred to as a crash. There are 5 species of rhino. The white rhinoceros and black rhinoceros are native to Africa. The Indian rhinoceros, Javan rhinoceros, and Sumatran rhinoceros are named for the Asian countries they reside in. Rhino attacks on humans are incredibly rare. Occasionally rhinos will ram vehicles, attempting to make them leave, which can cause tremendous damage. The white rhino is the second largest land animal on the planet, after the elephant. They can grow to over 7,700 pounds, 3,500 kilograms, and reach a length of 13 feet, 4 meters. During the 1960s, approximately 60,000 black rhinos lived in Africa. By 1988, hunters and poachers had reduced that number to 2,500. Conservation efforts raised that number to around 5,000 by 2017. Black, Javan, and Sumatran rhinos are all critically endangered species. White rhinos are the most numerous. All rhinos are herbivorous, meaning they only eat plants. The southern white rhino eats a staggering 120 pounds of grass every day. Rhino horns are not made of bone, but of keratin, the main ingredient in human hair and fingernails, combined with calcium and melanin. Rhino horns are structurally similar to horse hooves and turtle beaks. Rhinos live an average of 35 to 40 years. The largest rhinoceros species that ever lived was Paraceratherium. These prehistoric beasts stood 16 feet tall at the shoulder and weighed 20 tons. Rhino horns are highly coveted and are valued more than gold in some parts of the world. Traditional Chinese medicine holds that the horns possess healing properties. They have been used as an aphrodisiac, and in Yemen they are prized as dagger hilts. Rhinos are usually solitary creatures, though some travel in herds called crashes. Baby rhinos weigh between 90 and 140 pounds at birth. Rhinoceros skin is incredibly thick and tough, but it is also sensitive to sunburn and insect bites. Rhinos wallow in the mud to coat their skin for protection. Black and white rhinos are not actually named for their colors, as both are gray. In the Afrikaans language, white rhinos were called wyd, which means wide, and described the animal's mouth. English colonists misinterpreted this as white. Black rhinos are so called because of the dark mud they wallow in. The Javan and Indian rhinoceroses have only one horn, whereas the other three species have two. The rhinoceros's closest relatives are horses, tapirs, and zebras. An adult rhino will produce 50 pounds, 23 kgs, of dung every day. Rhinos are very territorial and mark their space with dung and urine. Each rhino's dung has a unique odor, and they often leave it in specific spots as a message to other rhinos in the area. Rhinos and birds called oxpeckers often form a sort of natural friendship, or symbiotic relationship. The bird rides on the rhino's back, eating bugs off its skin and warning it of possible threats. The black rhino population in Africa is down 97.6% since 1960 due to overhunting and horn poaching. The manufacture and trade of rhino horn medicines was banned in China, South Korea, and Taiwan in 1993. Indian rhinos are also called greater one-horned rhinoceroses. Many of the remaining African rhinos live in guarded sanctuaries to protect them from hunters. Rhinoceros pregnancies last between 15 and 16 months. Rhinoceroses, along with elephants, are among the last species of megafauna, huge land animals that are reminiscent of the giant animals of prehistory. It is not entirely clear what selective advantage horns provide for rhinos. It is thought that mother rhinos may use them to guide their young, nudging them in the right direction. Black rhinos prefer to graze during the evening and night, resting in the shade during the hot African day. Contrary to popular belief, rhinos do not generally use their horn for defense. Instead, they rely on their sharp, powerful teeth. Male black rhinos are very aggressive towards other males and engage in brutal battles with teeth and horns. Up to 50% of male black rhinos die from such battles, as well as 30% of the females. The Javan rhino is the rarest land mammal, numbering around only 50 in the whole world. Poachers have used a wide variety of techniques to kill rhinos, including herding them into pits filled with sharpened stakes, spearing them, electrocuting them, strangling them with wire nooses, or shooting them with everything from assault rifles to sawed-off shotguns. Rhinos are used to hot, dry climates and can go for up to 5 days without water. Rhinoceroses are known as odd-toed ungulates, in reference to their 3 large toes. The footprints of a rhinoceros bear some resemblance to an ace of clubs. A baby rhino spends up to 3 years in its mother's care. It will probably never meet its father. Conservationists began removing the horns from living rhinos, or dehorning them, in an attempt to deter poachers and save rhinos. It is a difficult procedure to dehorn a rhino, and it can cost upwards of $1,000 per animal. The earliest rhino species dates back to approximately 50 million years ago. Woolly rhinoceroses roamed the earth as recently as 10,000 years ago. Rhino horns continue to grow throughout life. If a horn breaks off, it will slowly grow back. Rhinos need so much food that they essentially eat all the time, only stopping to sleep through the hottest part of the day. Thank you for watching this video.